I never thought politeness could be dangerous. I wasn't reckless. I wasn't stupid. I didn't go looking for trouble. I didn't mess with things I didn't understand. I was just normal. I live alone. I always have. I rent a small apartment in an older building not far from the city center. 6 floors, thin walls, long hallways that smell like dust and old paint. The kind of place where you recognize faces but never learn names. People nod. People mind their business. That's the rule. That's how it was for years. Then he moved in. The apartment across from mine had been empty for a long time, almost a year. Tenants changed everywhere else, but that door stayed closed. When someone finally moved in, I barely noticed at first. I saw him one evening while taking out the trash. He was unlocking his door. Tall, lean, clean clothes. Nothing flashy, nothing strange. He looked like someone who blended in on purpose. We made eye contact. He smiled. Not wide, not forced, just polite. "Hey," he said. "Hey," I answered. That was it. That should have been it. Over the next few weeks, I saw him more often, in the hallway, near the elevator, outside the building when I came back late from work. Always alone, always calm. He never rushed, never looked at his phone, never wore headphones. When he spoke, he looked directly at you, not aggressively, just attentively. One night, we ended up in the elevator together, just the two of us. The doors closed. The hum of the cables filled the silence. "Long day?" he asked. "Yeah," I said. He nodded slowly, like that answer mattered. The elevator moved. I stared at the numbers above the door. That's when I realized he wasn't looking at them. He was watching me. Not staring, not openly, just observing, like he was memorizing something small and important. The elevator stopped on my floor. I stepped out. He stayed inside. The doors closed. I told myself I was imagining things. A few days later, he spoke to me again, this time in the hallway. He was holding a small paper bag. "I made too much food," he said. "Thought I'd offer before it goes to waste." I hesitated. Everything in my head said no. But nothing about him felt openly wrong. No red flags, no alarms. He smiled again, same polite smile. "No pressure," he added. "I just hate throwing food away." I agreed. That was my mistake. His apartment was clean, too clean. No photos, no decorations, no personal items, just furniture placed with intention. The smell hit me first. Not rotten, not sour, just heavy, thick, like cooked meat mixed with something metallic. "Old building," he said when he noticed my pause. "Smells stick." He handed me a plate. The food tasted fine. Better than fine, actually. Rich, carefully seasoned. He didn't eat. He just sat across from me, hands folded, watching. "So," he said casually, "do you live alone?" "Yes," I answered. He nodded. "Most people here do," he said. "They don't like being noticed." Something about the way he said that made my stomach tighten. I left shortly after. He walked me to the door. "Anytime," he said. "Really?" I smiled, thanked him. I never went back. After that night, things started to feel off. Not dangerous yet, just uncomfortable. I'd see him standing near the building entrance sometimes, not smoking, not waiting for anyone, just standing there, looking out at the street. Once I came home late and saw him across the road. He didn't cross. He just watched me unlock the door. I started changing my routine without realizing it, leaving earlier, coming back later. But somehow, I still ran into him. Every meeting felt timed, like he knew my schedule better than I did. Then, people started disappearing. Not suddenly, not loudly. A man from the next block, a delivery driver, someone who lived alone. No news stories, no panic, just empty apartments. Quiet gaps where people used to be. I told myself it had nothing to do with him. I wanted to believe that. Until the night I almost didn't make it inside. After that night, I couldn't relax anymore. I told myself nothing had changed. Same job, same building, same routine. But my body didn't believe it. I started listening more than usual. Not on purpose, it just happened. Sounds carried differently now. A door closing 2 floors down. Footsteps that didn't match anyone I knew. The elevator cable humming late at night when no one should have been using it. I stopped using the elevator myself. The stairs felt safer, slower, predictable. I began noticing details I had ignored for years. Which apartments stayed dark, which doors never opened, which names stopped appearing on packages near the mailboxes. And I noticed his trash. Heavy bags, always double-wrapped, always taken out late, past midnight, never during the day. One night, I came home earlier than usual. I was halfway up the stairs when I heard voices below me. 2 men, strangers, laughing, relaxed. Then his voice joined theirs, calm, friendly. I leaned over the railing just enough to see. They were standing near his door. One of the men was holding a beer. The other had his jacket slung over his shoulder. Casual, comfortable. He opened his door. They went inside. The door closed. I stood there longer than I should have. The hallway stayed quiet after that. No laughter, no voices, nothing. The next morning, the 2 men were gone. No police, no sirens, no questions, just absence. That was when I stopped lying to myself. I started paying attention to his apartment. Not directly. I wasn't stupid enough to stand outside his door. But sound travels in old buildings. Walls remember things. Late at night, I heard movement. Furniture shifting. Something heavy being dragged slowly across the floor. Once, water ran for a long time, long enough to feel wrong. Then came the smell again, stronger than before. Sweet, rotting, metallic. People complained. Management blamed old pipes. A maintenance worker knocked on his door one afternoon. I watched from my peephole. He smiled, spoke quietly, stepped just far enough into the doorway to block the view inside. The worker nodded, didn't go in, left pale and shaking. That night, I heard chewing. Slow, wet, deliberate. I sat on my bed staring at the wall we shared. Bite, pause, swallow, another bite. I pressed my ear closer without thinking. The sound stopped immediately, as if he knew, as if he had been waiting for me to listen. That was when fear stopped being abstract. A few days later, he knocked on my door. I didn't answer. I looked through the peephole. He was standing there, holding another small container. "I made too much again," he said softly. "Thought of you." I stayed silent. The smile faded just a little. "No rush," he added. "Another time." He walked back to his apartment. I heard multiple locks slide into place. I didn't sleep that night. A week later, I came home late. As I turned the corner toward my building, I saw him standing near the entrance again, waiting. He didn't block the door, didn't move toward me. He just watched. I slowed down. My chest tightened. He took one step forward, then another, slow, controlled. That's when I heard it. Laughter. A group of men coming down the street, loud, drunk, unaware. He froze. Not in fear, in calculation. He stepped back into the shadow, smiled once more, and disappeared inside. I stood there shaking, pretending to check my phone until the men passed. I went inside, locked my door, and understood something terrifying. He knew I knew, and he wasn't finished with me yet. After that night, the building stopped feeling neutral. It felt aware. Every time I stepped inside, I had the sensation that something had already noticed me. Not watched, not followed, counted. I stopped taking calls in the hallway, stopped standing still anywhere outside my apartment. Keys in hand, door open, door closed, lock turned. I started double-checking the lock without realizing it. Once before bed, once after the lights were off, once again when I couldn't sleep. I told myself it was temporary. It wasn't. I began running into him less often, not because he wasn't there, but because he had changed. He stopped approaching me, stopped offering food, stopped smiling. Instead, he watched from a distance, from the stairs, from across the street, from the reflection in the glass near the entrance. The worst part was that he never rushed. People expect danger to hurry, to force itself on you, to make mistakes. He didn't. One evening, I came home earlier than usual. As I unlocked my door, I heard his behind me, not footsteps, breathing, slow, controlled. I didn't turn around. "Busy lately?" he said casually. I nodded without facing him. "Yeah." A pause. "I was worried," he continued. "You stopped answering." I swallowed. "Just work." Another pause. "I don't like being ignored," he said, still calm. That was the first threat. Not spoken like one, not delivered with anger, just stated. I went inside and locked the door. I leaned against it longer than I should have. That night, I heard someone else knock on his door. A stranger's voice, confident, curious. He opened it. I didn't hear laughter this time. I heard pleading, muffled, short, then nothing. The next morning, the hallway smelled like cleaning chemicals, strong enough to burn my nose. Management posted a notice about maintenance issues. No one asked questions. People never do. A few days later, I ran into one of my neighbors near the mailboxes, an older man, nervous, eyes darting. He leaned closer and spoke quietly. "Have you noticed him?" he asked. I didn't answer. "That one across from you," he continued. "People go in. They don't come out." He stepped back immediately after saying it, like the words themselves were dangerous. That night I heard movement outside my door, not touching the handle, not knocking, just standing there, breathing. I held my breath without thinking. Minutes passed. Then footsteps, moving away, down the stairs, toward the entrance. I knew then what he was doing. He wasn't hunting randomly. He was waiting for me to make a mistake, to open the door for the wrong reason, to step outside at the wrong time. And he was getting closer. I started avoiding nights altogether. I stayed out late, sat in cafes until they closed, walked the city with no destination just to delay going home. Anything felt safer than being near that building after dark. But routines always catch up with you. That night, I had no choice. It was late, past 1. The streets were almost empty. I turned the corner toward my building and immediately felt it. That pressure again. The sense of being evaluated. I slowed down. He was there, standing near the entrance, half hidden by shadow, not blocking the door, not pretending to smoke, just waiting. He looked relaxed, comfortable, like this was how the night was supposed to go. I considered turning around, walking away, calling someone, doing anything else. But I didn't. I took another step forward. He stepped toward me at the same time, slow, measured. "Did you think I wouldn't notice?" he asked calmly. My throat tightened. "Notice what?" I said. "That you stopped coming by," he replied. "That you stopped answering." He smiled, but this time it didn't reach his eyes. He moved closer. "I don't like unfinished conversations," he said. I stepped back. That's when his hand shot out, fast, strong. He grabbed my arm and pulled me toward the entrance. I stumbled, nearly fell. He was stronger than he looked. Not in a wild way, in a practiced way, like someone who knew exactly how much force to use. "Don't make this loud," he said softly. "It never needs to be." I struggled, slipped, my shoulder hit the wall. And then, voices, laughter, loud, close. A group of men came around the corner, 4 of them, drunk, talking over each other, unaware. He froze. Not fear, calculation. He released me instantly, stepped back, smoothed his jacket, adjusted his posture. By the time the men noticed us, he looked like just another neighbor standing outside. "You okay, man?" one of them asked me. I nodded too quickly. Yeah, I'm fine." They laughed and kept walking. He looked at me one last time. No smile this time, just a look of disappointment. Then he turned and walked into the building. I didn't follow. I waited until my hands stopped shaking. That night, I didn't sleep, because now I knew something for sure. He had wanted me alive, and that meant I still had a use. After that night, I understood something I had been avoiding. He wasn't angry that I fought back. He wasn't embarrassed that others had seen us. He was disappointed, like a hunter whose prey slipped at the last second. And disappointment is worse than rage. I didn't go home the next evening, or the one after that. I stayed with a friend across the city, slept on his couch, left the lights on, pretended everything was fine. But the fear followed me. Every sound at night made my chest tighten. Every shadow looked wrong. I kept checking my phone, expecting a message I knew would never come. I couldn't run forever. 3 days later, I came back. Daytime, sunlight filling the hallway, people moving in and out, normal life pretending nothing was wrong. His door was closed. I stood in front of my apartment for a long time before unlocking it. Nothing happened. That night, I slept with my clothes on. The pressure returned slowly, not all at once. At first, it was small things. A note slipped under my door. No handwriting, just printed words. "You left early." I threw it away. The next night, another note. "You should have stayed." I didn't sleep. Then came the smell, stronger than ever, not just in the hallway, inside my apartment. I realized then that our apartments shared more than just a wall. They shared pipes, vents, spaces no one thought about, spaces no one checked. I heard movement inside the walls that night. Scraping, shifting, something heavy adjusting itself, like he was exploring. The breaking point came a week later. I came home late again, trying to avoid him. As I stepped into the hallway, I saw his door open, lights on. For the first time since everything began, I froze. He stood in the doorway, calm, inviting. "You look tired," he said. I didn't answer. "I think we should finish our conversation," he continued. "Like adults." My instincts screamed no, but something else told me this was the only way it ended. I stepped inside. His apartment looked the same at first. Clean, ordered, quiet. Then I noticed what I hadn't seen before. The furniture was arranged to hide things. The rug didn't quite lie flat. The bathroom door had a second lock, on the outside. The smell was overwhelming now. He noticed my reaction. "You should sit," he said gently. "I don't like mess." That's when I saw it. Behind the half-open door. A shape. Human. Broken. Unrecognizable. He watched my face change. "People think monsters look different," he said calmly. "But we don't. We just adapt." He stepped closer. "I liked you," he added. "That's why I waited. You noticed me." That was his mistake. He wanted to be understood. I ran. I don't remember how I got out. I remember pain, shouting, neighbors screaming. Police lights flooded the hallway. He didn't chase me. He didn't need to. They found enough. Enough to make him disappear. Enough to make the building empty. I moved. New city, new apartment, new routine. But some things don't leave you. Sometimes when I walk past someone too polite, too calm, too attentive, I feel it again. That pressure in my chest, the feeling of being evaluated. And I remember something he said. Most people don't like being noticed. That's how he chose them. That's how he chose me. And somewhere, right now, someone is being polite to the wrong neighbor.